Welcome to Who Will Be King, the fans' first sports network NFC North roundup show. Join Pay, host of the Bear Claw podcast. June and Foster, hosting Bleachers To Speakers. And me, Dave, from Vikings First and SKOL, as we dive into the latest news and updates from our NFC North teams. We'll be reviewing Week 18 action, whether we want to or not, discuss coaching and general manager changes, or what should be coach changes, share the NFL news and rumors, and preview the upcoming wild card weekend matchups with a focus on the Packers versus the Cowboys and the Rams versus the Lions. As we used to say, let the playoffs begin. Let the battles begin. And the group is all here. From the listeners' left and the viewers' left, we have Pay from the Windy City and home of the Deep Pan Pizza. How you doing, Pay?
Another week. Another confusing.
And as usual, Pay's audio goes on to Fritz. We'll get back to Pay. In the middle, left and right, we have June and Foster from Bleachers To Speakers, home of the Detroit pizza, known for its thick crust. How are you two fine gentlemen?
Go Blue. I'm great.
Okay. I'm good. I'm good. Ready. I'm playoff ready.
Well, that's outstanding. And as many of you already know, I'm Dave from Vikings First and SKOL, representing the Minnesota Vikings, and we are not famous for any pizza whatsoever. It is, if anything, you might call it a walleye fish fry steak. But other than that, I know it's good eating.
Yeah.
Other than that, we're here to discuss real briefly what happened last weekend. Pay and I are sort of frowning on that. We'll open it up with Pay. Speaking of frowning, what happened last weekend?
All of our worst dreams came to true. Again, the Bears could never beat that team from Green Bay. That team from Wisconsin owns us, sad to say. 5 consecutive years. They have never lost to the Bears in 5 straight years. It is starting to become one of those things you can count and you set your watch to it. Death taxes and the Bears lose to the Packers at this point.
That's wrong.
And unfortunately, we could not help out our brothers in Detroit. We kind of did want to give them a different playoff atmosphere, but, bear down in the worst possible way.
Well, I will lead into that. As everybody knows, the Vikings played Detroit in Detroit, and it was an abject failure. I told you Nick Mullins would be amusing to watch, and he was. He was throwing the ball all over the place, and it was working all the way up until the fourth quarter when he started throwing it to the people in the blue uniforms. And that didn't work so well, or I should say the gray uniforms that they were wearing last weekend. And the Minnesota Vikings fell to the Lions. 30-20 was the final score, making the Vikings drop out of the playoff picture. Any hopes whatsoever they dropped and helped. It went towards solidifying their draft position. It moved after the 4 o'clock games, but it is what it is. Now, getting to the NFC North champions, the ones that whooped up on us last week. June, what was your opinion of last Sunday's game?
It's kind of like when you watch the Lions, it's like, okay, let's see what's going on here. It's never in the bag. I was worried about Justin Jefferson, and he gave me plenty of things to worry about. He has an amazing talent over there, and I don't know. You just kind of watch the game and you hope for the best, but the Lions always are the team that's, if you're a fan, you're going to be on blood pressure medicine at some point. Foster can vouch for that. Like, it's like you get a lead and you let them back in. You get a lead, let them back. It's never easy, no matter the opponent. It's never easy.
Well, speaking of blood pressure medicine, I'll bet your blood pressure went up when your young tight end tweaked his knee. What do you think of that, Foster?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, no. I mean, Campbell did say he has an outside chance of playing. That was that was a scary thing to watch for sure. But it looks like he is going to be okay. To what capacity he'll be able to play this week, I'm not really sure. But we got a lot of weapons. We had a tight end that jumped right in. That it was it's serviceable. And then the backup, that was our third string. Our backup, Brock Wright, is going to be back as well. So worst case scenario, Laporta is kind of a emergency option if necessary. But we got a ton of weapons, and we should be good regardless. But that was spooky. I mean, he did score a touchdown before all that happened, and I think he's officially the number one tight end in the league right now based upon that touchdown and what he was able to accomplish. So that is a good thing. But yeah, that is when we talked about going into this game and the fact that we really didn't have much to play for. We talked about getting to the playoffs in one piece, and we actually had a few guys get nicked up. Khalif Raymond got a little banged up in that game as well. So we'll be all right.
Okay. Quick question. I know you use the same crappy slit film turf that we do. Are you changing it out after this season like we are?
Well, I don't know if the turf was necessary. I don't know if that was just a situation, in-game situation. But I'm not too I'm not privy to what the equipment will be like at the end of the year. So I'm not really sure.
Cool. Now, switching subjects just a little bit. Pay, you wanted to talk about Black Friday.
Well, the lack thereof for me and your team, Dave.
I didn't expect anybody to get fired, not after two years in the business, or 2 years, fresh at head coach and GM.
My GM and coach are 2 years into it, and I expected I expected a delayed Christmas for me, and I'm thinking a good amount of Bear Nation was expecting the same. 48 hours into Black Friday, the Bears made a move as of today. They let go Luke Getsy. They let go of the offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. They also let go of the wide receivers coach for the Chicago Bears. But in a surprising move, they retained the services of Coach Eberflus. So he will be going into his third season as the coach with a record of 10 and I forget how many losses. But it is a confusing situation the Bears put themselves into. So they have Eberflus going into his third season. but have also had to let go four of his coaches. I don't know if Ryan Poles is now taking over the coach hiring, or they're going to let Eberflus fill out his staff again. Either way, it's not good for the future.
Well, we have a question here real quick from Delton. He's wondering if Chicago is still feeling strong about their quarterback, i.e. Justin Fields.
Who knows? It would have been a great indication of how they felt about their quarterback situation if they let go of everybody. If they had a clean slate from a coaching staff perspective, you would say, okay, you know what? We can probably assume that they're going to go quarterback with the number 1 pick. Retaining Eberflus, it's kind of like everything's still up in the air. You know? So now you got Justin, who's going to have his 3rd offensive coordinator in this going into his 4th season. You got Eberflus, who's going to have his 2nd offensive coordinator, and as I already said, a litany of other new coaches. But you also still have this opportunity to have a new era as far as quarterback and new offensive system. However, case it's a lot of question marks. It's a lot of questions that the Bears started the offseason with, and as of right now, I'm as a fan, as a broadcaster for this team, it's not looking very good.
Well, there's Vikings fans in the chat, and one sees Chicago keeping Fields, taking Marvin Harrison and Dallas Turner with their first 2 picks. Would that make you happy?
I'm not too familiar with Dallas Turner, but the number one selection for the Bears being a wide receiver, that would not make me happy. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is a fantastic talent, but if you watch that Bears game, the number one thing that I've been saying that the Bears need to do is they need to fix the passing system. They need to fix the passing game from the pocket on out. We do need an upgrade at receivers, yes. by all means, we do. However, the interior of our line is poo. We cannot expect our quarterback, whomever it may be, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Nathan Peterman, we can't expect them to be any type of good if they can't even step up into the pocket. We need to address all of that issues. We only have one player on the offensive line who is possibly good. We need to full sail fix all of that.
So you're looking for round bellies. I love that. It's hey, build from the trenches, and it will equate to wins if you can find it. Now, the quarterback's most important, but if you got strong trenches on both sides, you're going to win in a lot of games. So, yeah, I agree. Are there any of the other ones now? So far, we have Carolina looking for a head coach, Las Vegas looking for a head coach, Los Angeles Chargers looking for a head coach, Atlanta Falcons, Washington Commanders, Tennessee Titans, and somewhat surprisingly, at least to me, the Seattle Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Do you expect any more head coaches to lose their job between now and then, i.e., I'm thinking Bill Belichick?
That's the choice. I mean, that's the big one. I think that was the far as anybody was looking for Black Monday, like, wow, will possibly the greatest coach of all time get shown the door? As the clock gets ticking, it's looking less and less likely, but that's still the last shoe to drop.
Well, and I don't think they were going to, on Monday morning say, here's your pink slip, start walking. I think because he is arguably the best head coach ever, they're going to try to work something that'll be, thank you for all your service, wonderful thing. We're going to give you the key to Foxborough, blah, blah, blah. See you in your retirement, and off he goes to coach someplace else. But
that's the respectful thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And I do believe the Patriots, the Crafts, are a class act. their fan base got a little over themselves with all those Super Bowl wins, but I still think the organization's a class act for the most part.
I mean, Boston's going to be Boston.
Boston's going to be Boston. You got that right. June Foster, are any of these head coach openings fascinating to you guys?
No, not really. There's been talk about Ben Johnson taking the next available coaching job for the past 2 years. Same for Aaron Glenn. I'm not too pressed about Aaron Glenn. I'm going to miss Ben Johnson. No shade to Aaron Glenn, but I'm pretty sure we can find a replacement for Aaron Glenn. But Ben Johnson has done a great job, and we knew last year that there was going to be openings, and we thought he was gone last year. So,
Have you guys gotten approached for asking for permission to interview either of your coordinators?
Not that I know of. I haven't heard anything. Foster, have you?
I think I've heard people talking about it. I haven't seen any official type stuff, but I think that somebody said that Glenn and Johnson may have been doing some like video interviews, maybe, but obviously they're kind of tied up at the moment, so I don't know to what extent that's true.
Okay, interesting. Now, if you guys need a job, there are 4 GM positions open right now. Las Vegas, the Los Angeles Chargers, Carolina Panthers. I don't know who would want to work for Carolina in that order. And the Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case you're curious and you think you could do it, by all means apply.
I'm going to keep that in mind.
But that's your Black Monday update from Who Will Be King, the NFC North Roundup. Now we're going to move on to our next topic as soon as I play a little bit of music for the mid-show break. And we're back. I like that. It comes with a Procaster. Anyways, a little jazzy. Sounds good. But now we're going to move on to what's coming up this week. As Pay and I get to watch from the couch, we have Super Wild Card Weekend. And we're going to start with the first game from our Green Bay Packers affiliate. Wait a minute. We don't have one. If you know anybody that wants to do podcasts in a professional manner about the Green Bay Packers, have them contact us, have them contact Fans First Sports Network. We are looking for a Packers affiliate to join the crew of the NFC North so that we can talk some football. But since we don't have any, we'll all fill in and discuss what's going to happen this weekend. Both the NFC North games are on Sunday. First one will start at 4:30 in the afternoon. It is the Packers at the Cowboys. Who do you want to see win this one?
I think I
unanimous?
can speak for the entire panel. I think we all in unison on this one.
Are we?
How about them Cowboys?
Straight. How about them boys? Dalton thinks Packers are going to beat the Cowboys. I don't think so, Dalton. Cowboys they're going to choke, as we know in the playoffs, but it's usually closer to the big thing. Maybe the NFC Championship game or the next game before they choke this time. Hopefully they demolish the Packers. Cowboys are favored by 7.5 points with an over-under of just 50.5 points if you're wagering on this as of right now. Yes, we hate the Cowboys too, but in Minnesota, we hate the Cowboys, but above all that, we hate the Packers. So this is the lesser of two evils, and that means the Cowboys should win. Do you guys see it working out that way?
I would prefer the Cowboys to win, but I kind of feel like the Packers have the momentum. Obviously, the Cowboys beat the Commanders and beat us, but I don't know. I feel like the Packers are kind of clicking on all cylinders. I almost would rather see. I'd rather see the rematch back in Dallas. It kind of sets up for a little, a major storyline. So I don't know. The way the Packers did us last time, it's like, do we really? Granted, it would be at home. That is appealing. That is appealing. But so was Thanksgiving. But now,
but that's Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
It's got a tradition all its own.
You're right. So,
Pay, what's your take on this game?
I think Dallas is a far and away better team than Green Bay. Like they're not in the same universe. Green Bay toyed around with their lightweight last week and barely beat them. I mean, if you look at the final score, they barely did it. But Dallas for that matter. Dallas was kind of in the conversation for best team in the NFC for a good month and a half stretch. Green Bay, again, youngest team in the league. That's going to show itself at some point as far as experience and everything, and all that matters. Jordan Love is probably an elder statesman for that team. Him and Jair Alexander. Cowboys, they're for all their playoff miscues, they're seasoned. They know what the stage feels like, and they'll be playing at home, and they'll be playing a defense that is vulnerable. That offense I expect that offense to cook. I got Dallas covering that 7.5.
Sounds good.
You got it all mapped out.
Do you disagree, Jude?
I don't have a horse in the race as far as that. I don't care who wins. I do think Dallas will win, though.
Okay. Just got notified by one of our viewers. Nick Saban retired.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, but he's up there. He's in his 70s.
Well, there was a tweet that went out, and it was deleted.
Okay.
So it was an ESPN tweet but it was deleted. So we don't. I'd wait a little while.
Anthony Tollinson said Michigan broke Saban.
My brother said that too. That's funny.
See what happens when you lose to the Big Ten?
Yeah, I got you.
Cut it off.
Well, I would tend to give some credit to Georgia, like a lot of credit to Georgia, because the past couple of years before this year, it wasn't close.
Well, is that because since Georgia got good, they're starting to steal some of those recruits? They recruit in the same area, and
they did beat Georgia this year, though.
They're selecting some of that talent. Now, I think on this game, Packers at Cowboys, Pay, you're 100% correct. Packers are young, very, very youthful. Cowboys, you got McCarthy going up against his old team, right? There's always that little bit of revenge factor in there. I think this is going to be a Cowboys win, and I look forward to it. Anytime Green Bay loses, that brightens my day. Well, that brings us to our next game. Probably the most important one of the night. It'll be on Sunday night. we have the Rams traveling to the Lions. Old quarterback versus new old quarterback. June, let's start with you. It's your team.
There's a lot of talk saying that, it's a grudge match, and people here love Matt Stafford. Like, he didn't there wasn't it wasn't a bitter breakup. It wasn't Stafford left. They basically they offered Stafford money his last year, and he turned it down. He requested a trade instead, and they sent him to a great destination. So, uh, as far as this being a grudge match, we're gonna stop the hype there. It's a football game. We don't have any bad blood uh, against Stafford. However, I do think that the Lions take care of business. It's the first home playoff game in God knows how long. I don't think that these players will
Did they have
disappoint.
TV back then?
What's that?
Did they have TV back then the last time you guys had a home playoff game?
Black and
course
white.
they
It was black and white.
Of course they did. It was a little bit after a while that you guys, Minnesota hasn't been to the Super Bowl, but hey,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
1976.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day, and I was remembering I was 13 back then because somebody said they were 4. And I was like, no, I was 13. I'm older than most. But yes, it's been a while. And that's the goal. We have a saying amongst Vikings fan, win one before we die. And hopefully that happens.
Michigan did it.
Michigan. Oh, yeah, but I think Michigan had won one before. It may have been way back when.
97.
Yeah. And they just beaten Ohio State, 4 years in a row now? That's got to be a good record. 3?
3.
Mm-hmm.
3. It's not a record. We've done that before. They just had a very, very long streak recently. Like before that 3, it was like 9 or 10 from them. So,
damn. Foster, what's your opinion on this game? How are you going to face the Rams?
Well, I think that the game is definitely going to come down to turnover differential. I think that we all know that at this point the secondary is going to give up some yards. Everybody's making making it a big deal about Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua, but we can't sleep on the fact that Kyron Williams is not a half bad running back, and he is somewhat of a dual threat. So that's somebody that we definitely need to key in on and pay attention to as well. I think their turnover differential on the year is I think it's -3. So they and ours is at 0. But I think that if we take care of the ball and cause Stafford to turn the ball over some and hopefully run the ball, because we struggled a little bit running the ball against the Vikings. Goff was good. He had over 300 yards passing. I expected him to bounce back after the Cowboys game, and he did. And he took care of the ball, no interceptions. So we need another performance like that, and we can't look past the fact that everybody's talking about the return of Stafford, but this is also an opportunity for Goff to show that, I don't know if you made the wrong decision because they won a Super Bowl, but yeah, this is a point for Goff to prove that right now, I'm the superior quarterback, and he's trying to get paid, and if it's one way to get paid is to make things happen in the playoffs. So I'm hoping for another strong performance from him, and like they said, our defense, the Rams secondary going into the year was the worst secondary in the entire league. They improved somewhat, but they still have some weaknesses there, and I think that opens up a lot of opportunities for our guys to exploit them. So they do have a solid defensive line and linebacking core. So obviously Aaron Donald is one of the best defenders ever. So you obviously can't sleep on him, even though he's in the twilight of his career. I don't think that he's where he was a few years ago. But yeah, I expect the Lions to handle business. The crowd, I think the crowd is going to be a major factor. Like, it is going to be unbelievably loud in there. And yeah, this is going to be huge for the city as a whole. I think we handle business.
You very well may. And you mentioned Goff getting a contract. I forgot he's a free agent after this year. And that explains some speculation from some of our local radio in Minnesota talking about maybe Kirk Cousins might target it if we let him go, or not let him go, if we let him walk and not do an extension.
You said targeting Goff, you're saying?
If you guys release Goff, that the Detroit Lions may
go after
Ben and pick up Cousins. We had our going away press conference today with head coach Kevin O'Connell and GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and they mentioned they want Kirk Cousins back, but they want him back on terms they can agree to. Well, last season when they tried to get an extension with him, both sides didn't agree to the terms, and I don't see anything changing this year. Even with his Achilles injury, I don't see it changing. I think Kirk's going to ask too much money, and we're going to let him walk, and we're sitting in a precarious position in the draft at 11 to go up and get one or sit and wait and hope one drops. So, interesting. Pay, what's your thoughts on the Rams at Lions Sunday night?
It is going to be an interesting game. I do like the subplot of jettison quarterback from L.A. not returning, but defending himself against the quarterback that they chose over him. I enjoy that subplot, but from a game perspective, this is going to be a shootout. I like what Detroit Lions offer as far on offense versus the Rams defense. I think the Rams defense has been taking a step back from where they used to be with the last time they was in the playoffs. Obviously, they won a Super Bowl last time. They're not that good anymore. And on the flip side, I think the Los Angeles Rams, their offense offers a unique challenge to the Detroit Lions. As June talked about Aaron Glenn a few moments ago, that defense has shown the ability to be had from time to time. Kyron Williams is a rocket coming out of the backfield. It's going to be very entertaining. I don't know which way I want to lean for this game as of yet. It's up in the air. I'm just waiting to be entertained to the highest level for 60 minutes. But if I had to make a pick, I would lean more towards Detroit just because I think they're more consistent.
Well, I'm going to take Detroit as well. They are favored by 3 with an over-under 51.5. I think Detroit's been coming on in the last few games. The needle's trending up, even with what's happened in the last couple weeks or last weekend, especially with their rookie tight end. But I'm going to pick Detroit as well to win this one and advance to the next round and host their next game in Ford Field. Now, that may scare you guys, June and Foster, but believe it or not, I have faith, at least for this week.
Will we host the next game?
You're the what? Number 2 or 3 seed?
No,
3 seed.
3. It's going to be the Cow. If the Cowboys.
All right. Well, never mind. Sorry.
I thought you were switching on the Cow. I thought you were switching and making the Packers win. I was like, okay, cool.
No. And that would be the only way that you guys hosted. No. Cowboys beat the Packers. Fuck me. I'll have to bleep that one out. Puck the Packers.
Leave it.
Fuck the Packers.
Now, Jude and Foster, you can turn off your ears. This does not apply to you.
Right.
Pay and I are already starting into draft mode because we've been eliminated.
As you see, I've got my
Cubs.
Chicago Cubs hat on. It's baseball season.
Pay, what's the Chicago Bears draft position going into the 2024 draft right now?
We have the number 1 pick and the number 10 pick in the first round. And subsequently after that, we have the 10. And I think we also do have another Carolina choice in the third round. I have to look that up. But as of matter right now, our first 2 picks off the board will be twice in the first 10.
Gotcha. And we're right behind you at number 11. So
Sorry, Dave.
Hey, it happens.
The draft is plentiful.
Mm-hmm. I fully suspect the Vikings will be targeting for their quarterback of the future. There was the report that came out this week or last week where they tried to trade the entire farm, including the pigs and the chickens and the cows, to move up last season. They did not get it. But all that plays into Kirk Cousins and everything else. So it's going to be an interesting run up as we come up on March 13th and the new league year and free agency and the scouting combine and then the draft. So with that, we're going to wrap this week up. Any last words, Pay? Where can the good fans watching find you?
Well, the good fans, and thanks all from Vikings First and SKOL for joining us live. But the good fans everywhere can catch the Bear Claw anywhere you get your audio feeds from, whether that's Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, Amazon Music. We are all there on the audio form at the Bear Claw Podcast. We are also available on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram for all your visual effects and memes and all of those fan engagement things of that nature. So check us out. It's a good time if you like to laugh at division rival tears for off-season bungles. We're a one-stop shop. Check us out.
Especially against the Packers. Jude, where can they find Bleachers to Speakers?
You can find Bleachers To Speakers on all those same platforms that Pay described: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can catch us on the YouTube on Motor City Metrics. However, me and Foster just started a new YouTube page. Please go there, subscribe to Bleachers To Speakers. You'll find it on the YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. You'll see it. We only have a few subscribers. We're trying to get those subscribers up. That channel will talk about all sports, along with and many different things. Right now, we have player profile, featured player of the week. That's a segment that Foster does every week, where he does his homework and he talks about how this person has come into the league, their statistics and all that good stuff. It'll help you get familiar with the player. So check that channel out. Foster, if I left anything out, you can go ahead.
I was going to ask Foster, what are those other sports?
You said, what are the other sports?
Yeah, the Bleacher To Speakers covers. We've got the Bleachers To Speakers. Everybody could see the logo in the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. With the subwoofer, and it's in the Detroit, Honolulu blue scheme. Right. But what are the other sports you guys cover?
Oh, well, we cover the Pistons as well, and that's on our platform called Post Game Podcast. But other than that, it's just pretty much football and basketball.
No Red
We'll
Wings?
use that channel later on to do other things. As far as it's like we just started it. We brought in the new year with the new channel, so we're still working stuff out and getting material. But It'll be
No
more
Red
stuff.
Wings.
Well, look for a guy that likes hockey. You guys, you've got a good tradition over there with hockey. I don't know
Yeah.
how
Oh,
you're doing this
yeah.
year, but
Right. Oh, we're
and you
we're
got a
doing
little,
okay.
and you got a little bit of a baseball team, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we handle a little business on that, and we'll see how the year goes. We finished in second place this past year, so we'll see. I know Pay doesn't care for the White Sox anyway. So. No.
Well, I'm Dave, and you can find me over at Vikings First and SKOL, which you're watching this on. And if you're watching it, you've already found us. Vikings First and SKOL YouTube. We're also on Vikings First and SKOL on all your podcast aggregators. And you can find us on the written side over at Fans First Sports Network. Guess what? Minnesota Vikings or Vikings First and SKOL. We're there. You can find all our written pieces, which link back to both our podcasts and our videos. Our podcasts, we have extra podcasts that are podcasts only. So if you're thinking you're getting everything just watching YouTube, you're wrong. We got extra stuff that come in podcast form only, and you can always find them there or in your feed if you subscribe. And I highly would like to encourage anybody that wants to keep up on the NFC North that you follow these fine gentlemen and their channels. They are quite entertaining. Pay also does multiple sports as well, and it's going to be fun. And I get a question from Chris Olson asking if myself and Tyler are going to be on today. Yes, we have our regular Wednesday show, The Real Forno, at 6 p.m. Central. We're going to be talking about, Tyler did some research into trading up in the draft since the Vikings are talking about it. And he's gone through about 20 years worth of trades and what they've cost and what are their results. And the fact that there is something known as a quarterback tax. Everybody hates taxes, but I guess in the draft, they apply those as well. So we'll find out. Hey, the Bears are good at trading. They're sitting with the Panthers' #1 pick this week. So it's pretty good. Now, before we all go, what do we say, Pay?
Bear down.
June, I know it's coming. Everybody, thanks for watching, and SKOL Vikings! Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been a The Bear Claw Podcast. Bleachers to Speakers. Vikings First and SKOL. And of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.